Hey everybody, this is our 2019 pre-scare Boo-Fet Not Scary Farm dinner video. And so in that, I wanted to first start out here outside. The pre-scare has not begun yet for this Friday night. But you can see the hotel version here near Amber Waves at the Knott's Hotel has a much more unified theme this year, with this kind of carnival vibe to it. That said, we always prefer doing the pre-scare in the park, specifically at Spurs, and so we'll kind of get to that. But this one is fine. Usually we try to do this maybe once a year, and the food is, in the past couple years, has been different, and to us not quite as good as what is at Spurs. And additionally, not inside the park, obviously, when eating here, so it just makes it all the way around. You don't have to deal with security when you're inside, etc. So when we've stayed at the hotel, and instead of booking the package, we leave the dinner option off and do the pre-scare and bites separately, so that we can do the park version. But that said, still a fun time over here. Just the idea that you have to go through security, and the food hasn't been as much to our liking. There's been less selection, etc. Proximity, all of that we have been preferring, at least the last several years, to do the inside version. So that said, let's make our way down and we'll talk about the Mrs. Knott's, the CDR version. All right, the next option for pre-scare is the Knott's Chicken Dinner Restaurant. They have some signage up inside, but traditionally they have you seated in kind of a back area there, and we'll actually take you there now, but wanted to kind of give some bearings if you're coming out for maybe the first time. Marketplace area, Mrs. Knott's, the most iconic of the spots down here, but a place that we don't really like to do pre-scare either, which we'll get to as we move over. Let's take a look at the signage inside and then head around the corner. All right, so we're on the back side of Mrs. Knott's now, which is where they do check-in. Now over here, and this is where people will get confused if you're new to it, people will check in over here and they'll start kind of dividing people up, especially as it gets later and as Spurs gets more crowded. So they'll start shooting people in this back room area, which also has buffet options. It also has some characters usually wandering around, but to us is nowhere near as good as making our way into Spurs. So we always make sure that we schedule an early time, and we make sure to specifically request if they try to put us in here to go to Spurs, because again, you're already inside of security. You're near, if you want to go ride Ghost Rider, if you want to line up for the mazes early. It just has so many other options. Now, we've had groups come before where we are kind of split on our times. They were like a half hour later than us. And, it's like, okay, we're going to meet in Spurs and we'll get in there. And then our group will tell us, oh, well, they're making us go over here. And so sometimes we'll have to request talking to somebody of, hey, our group's over there. But just understand there are multiple options. Again, for anybody that's a veteran at this, you wouldn't probably be watching this video anyway. But there are these three options. And so now we will go to our favorite option. So again, we do check in, though, here. There'll be a table right here. Security will be right over here, so we'll check in, you get your souvenir cup, walk over here, go through security. There'll be a photo op at the back gate there. So everybody goes through that same gate for pre-scare. The nice thing though is if you are eating at Spurs, you go through it early, like we'll go through it at 4:30 or 5, and that way we're already behind the scenes. We don't have to worry about any long lines out here or any other issues with security or things like that, because we're already behind the scenes at 4:30 or 5. And everybody kind of follows in after that. So once we go through that gate, we make the right under Ghost Rider and then the right towards Spurs, and we'll pick the video back up inside the park by Spurs. Alrighty, so we make our turn in here, and so now we're actually on a little bit later in the day. We actually are checked in for the buffet. You get a sticker to check you in like that. But as we checked in, we were the first for our time slot, and they were already trying to talk us into going to the Mrs. Knott's version. So again, totally cool if you like that. We just prefer being inside of security on this side. Down there you can see rope drop, which is where the opening moment will be. Down here, that's where the mazes will be. So again, if you are a Knott's vet, you already know all this stuff. But we're trying to use it. Last year we got a lot of questions from people that are making their first time to the buffet, or maybe the first time at Scary Farm at all. So with that said, let's go inside and take a look at the food that they have offered, and maybe we'll show you a little bit of just the monsters kind of interacting and things here in Spurs, and then we'll come back and wrap this video up. So everybody gets the refillable cup for free refills throughout the night. You see there is a drink station there to fill up. What we suggest doing is do not fill your cup up at the buffet. Use one of the paper cups. At least that's what we do. That way you keep it clean until you need to get it filled up later in the night. So just our strategy, we don't leave with it full. And then here, let's take a little look at some of the food. We'll start with the desserts. Of course, boysenberry pie. Got the shrimp cocktail down here. Got some soups at the end. Butternut squash bisque and chili. Deviled eggs. Carving station over here. Of course, our Mrs. Knott's famous fried chicken, loaded mac and cheese, pot roast, cheddar mashed potatoes, grilled asparagus.
Well,
Italian pasta. There is a salad that goes out, so they're changing out bowls, but you do have a full salad. Got chicken wings. Oh, there we go. There's the lettuce. Oh, this year it's wedges. That's new. And then a lot of repeats here from the other side. Really tasty meal. So for the $34.99, I believe that's the price now, you're getting early access. You're getting some great food. You're getting a refillable cup for free drinks the whole night. It's like a ridiculous deal, I think, at the end of the day. And then we've got our monsters interacting.
it is magic. Wow, why do people do this? Is this your spot here? No?
Fine, it's fine.
Do you know these people? That's not your plate.
No, it is.
And that gives an idea. So, these are the reasons we love the pre-scare dinner. These are the reasons we specifically love the pre-scare dinner at Spurs and think it is better than the others. As I said, though, we usually will do one at least over at the hotel as well. So, with that said, we're going to wrap this video up. Oh, by the way, more monsters will come out and join in. There'll probably be at least another 2 to 4 monsters that'll make their way out here. All right, until next time, we'll see you in line somewhere.